hanging out with Alec, checking out the Porsche 718 Spyder. You'll remember we did the full review and the ownership video last year, but it was so new it wasn't quite through break-in yet. Now we've got more miles on it so we can drive it fully through the rev range, and there's one big change, a new exhaust for the car. I haven't heard it yet, so we're gonna do a cold start in a moment, but an Akrapovic exhaust that'll really open up that flat six. Excited to hear how it sounds. That is a good looking car. We'll call this the ownership update, and I'm going to drive an update for the 718 Spyder. I have to be very careful not to call it the Boxster Spyder, because last time people got real upset. They're like, it's not a Boxster anymore, it's a 718 Spyder. How many miles are on it now?
Like 1,300, 1,400.
Right. Fine. Well, between all the cars, it's a miracle you have time to actually drive them.
And not being here in the country.
And not being here is also definitely a factor. So, any new thoughts and impressions on the car?
Well, the biggest thing is just the new exhaust. Even though I wasn't here driving it, I just remembered that I didn't like how it sounded, and so with the gas particulate filter being in play now, I got an Akrapovic exhaust.
Not what you were thinking it sounded like earlier.
Yeah.
I used to think it was Akrapovic, but it's Akrapovic.
Akrapovic, yeah.
The new exhaust.
The new exhaust, Acra.
Yes.
The Acra exhaust. Yeah, so I have the link pipe, which is the OPF delete.
Okay.
And then, or the GPF delete,
yeah.
And then the slip-on, which is the full titanium exhaust.
Oh. So. And it's got a valve, so you can have it quiet or loud. It just the startup, I thought sounded really good.
Yeah.
And under throttle, is it amazing?
Yeah, like I said, it's loud enough that now even without opening the valves, I'm fine driving around.
Okay. So. Does it start to sound a bit more like the GT3?
No, it's a different exhaust sound just because of the titanium exhaust.
Okay.
I think also it just sounds a little higher pitched.
Oh, really? Higher pitched than the GT3?
Well, higher pitched than just like a normal,
okay.
like my old 981 Spyder.
Yeah. Oh, gotcha.
You know.
Gotcha. So what were some other things you noticed about the exhaust? We were talking about that earlier.
It's lighter.
No, the cylinder deactivation thing.
Oh, okay, sorry. I don't know what you're talking about. You're like, it's lighter. I'm not really going to get more power, but it's just lighter, so it does, whatever.
But does it drone? That was the discussion.
No, it doesn't drone.
Okay.
So that's the nice thing. I mean, I think the way that Acra designed this exhaust, they made sure that it wouldn't drone, because I know that's a big thing is under, some power ranges, there's drone with these aftermarket exhausts.
Yeah.
But one thing that you do notice on this is that with the new generation, they have cylinder deactivation for when you're on light load between, I guess, like 1,500 and 3,000 RPM. So when you're on the freeway, if you don't turn off auto start stop,
okay.
The car does go into this weird sounding, what I thought was drone,
okay.
but it's actually cylinder deactivation. So it's only running 3 cylinders.
Man, that's weird.
So
it makes sense on this a little bit more, but like on like the SVJ or like Aventadors, those have stop start. I was telling you guys last night, we were in Josefa's one day and it was in Strada, and we stopped at a stoplight and the whole car just turned off. And I'm like, did it just stall? Like a giant 6.5 liter V12 just turned off. But so yeah, okay, so it sounds a little not as great in that mode, but otherwise driving, how do you feel it compares?
No, driving wise, I like it. I mean, now with this, they went full GT4 suspension.
Yes.
So, mechanically, this and the GT4 are exactly the same. It's just one you have the Spyder top and one you have a fixed roof.
Did you drive Syeds before you got rid of it?
No,
GT4?
I never drove Syeds before, but Syed didn't really love his, actually.
Oh, really?
He knew it was faster, but he actually liked the feel of the previous generation, the 981 GT4, more than he liked his 718 GT4. But,
okay.
Yeah.
So I drove my friend Mike's. He also had a Genshin Blue GT4, and I've driven yours, obviously. I personally would go for the Boxster Spyder because without the big wing out back, it doesn't feel like it's trying as hard to be the little track car. Whereas if you really, really want to be the fastest around the track, you probably should just get the GT3 because Porsche holds this down below a 911.
Yeah.
That's always been my reasoning. It always feels like the baby brother. So I'd rather have the top-down manual experience. And when mechanically, suspension-wise, everything is the same, good to go.
Well, if you're going for track, pure track, yeah, GT4 with a PDK even. Like,
that's
you know,
true, yeah.
You know, if you're going for track times, I think with the stick shift, it's still, you're more going for driver engagement and like the joy of driving and still feeling, you know, connected to the car.
Yeah.
And that's why, you know, a manual for me is preferable to a PDK. Even with like, honestly, the SVJ with the single clutch.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of, after you get used to it, it's kind of still more fun to actually shift and kind of have that involvement than, like, you know, the dual clutches on the Huracan and stuff, they're so fast and they're so like laser sharp that, you know, you almost feel like there's no point shifting. I could just leave it.
True.
I could just leave it, and it's like a, you know, it's like a 911 turbo or my old 992 or any of the other PDKs when they have PDK-S. Like, you know, it just, they're so lightning fast that you're like, do I need to shift? Do I need to do this?
The computer is
manually?
better than me in all situations.
Yeah, it's like they know what it's supposed to do, so you almost don't need to play with it. So, you know, I think there's some reasoning behind maybe other than just power and torque that, like, on a SVJ, they can continue to keep it, you know, a single clutch transmission versus going dual clutch.
I keep looking right. It's right behind the camera. That's green. Was that Verde Mantis?
Yeah, Verde Mantis.
Verde Mantis SVJ Roadster. Oh my God, this is very cool. But get yourself through break-in. I want to hear that thing opened up. We've also got the new G-Wagon. Congrats on that. And before I hop in this and take it for a spin, AMG GT Black Series.
Yeah.
That should be cool. And do you want to talk about the other toy that's supposed to come? That you
STO is supposed to come.
Ad personam STO. Like, silly over the top ad personam, but that's the way to do it. That'll be awesome. But okay, so otherwise this is through, right? We can drive it now. You've gotten closer to redline. It's got the new exhaust.
Yeah.
And it's warm now, so
yeah.
718 Spyder. All right, so you heard it start up. Once it's fully warm, we'll get some revving clips. I'm gonna go take it for a spin, talk about that in a bit. Thank you very much, Alec.
You're welcome.
I am glad you put an exhaust on this, because before it was good, but I'm like, it doesn't sound quite as good as a 4-liter flat six should sound, like a naturally aspirated. So yeah, let's see how it goes. All right, I'm gonna hop in the car, take it for a spin. Inside the car, it's a Porsche, so the key goes on the left side. Oh man, that is a much nicer startup sound. We were gonna leave the top up because it's 46 degrees out, so it's warm, but not quite that warm. But also for audio, as a quick reminder, the 718 Spyder has a 4-liter naturally aspirated flat six. It's different from the NA flat six you'll find in the GT3. So not 500 horsepower, 414 horsepower, which is still pretty healthy. It revs to 8,000 RPM. It is mated here with a 6-speed manual transmission. And again, the biggest difference beyond just the engine itself is the fact that this is a mid-engine platform. That was just 4,000 RPM. Oh, this sounds good. So mid-engine, better weight balance. That is the Cayman and the Boxster 718 platforms now. And then the difference between this and the GT4 now is really just no fixed roof and no big wing out there. It's got a little tiny kind of ducktail lip out back, but functionally, mechanically, they are the same. Before, the Spyder version was a little softer, not quite as aggressive, whereas the Cayman GT4 was full out for the track. Now, mechanically, they are shared. Oh man, I've been driving a Cadillac Escalade Duramax for the last week and a half, so in comparison, this feels actually like a go-kart. Obviously, it's a nimble, small, handling, sharp sports car. It's a Porsche GT car, but the comparison, I think, has increased even more so given what I've been driving recently. Temperatures are warmed up. We're going through a little overpass. I am a big fan. It's a different tone from what the GT3s sound like. The GT3s they still sound a little more angry and aggressive. It's hard for me to quantify and explain this properly. Before the exhaust, it sounded good, but nowhere near as what a naturally aspirated 4-liter flat 6 deserved to sound like. It had been muffled and just dampened a bit, even though I don't think we don't have the actual GPF filters here, but whatever the architecture setup and like the way the exhaust has to be designed, even without the filter itself, something about it still is dampening the sound. I'm noticing it in a couple other recent cars too. I drove the new RS6 and RS7s, and without a single doubt, they are quieter than my stock sport exhaust C7.5 RS7. So something about it is starting to just kill the sound of these cars, which is kind of sad. That is what it's all about. This is driving engagement. Mid-engine, flat 6-speed manual, a Porsche 6-speed manual, so you know it's like flawless. This car also has the auto match downshifts, auto blip. You can turn it on and off with a button, but with the computer doing it for you, it's perfect downshifts. Straight-line speed isn't the point of this car either. Again, this is the nimble, well-handling. Honestly, I think the regular GTS 718 with the turbo engine is quicker, especially with the PDK transmission, like 0 to 60 metrics like that. But none of them will match the way this car feels, the handling. It's so sharp. I also, I love driving GT level Porsches. They are just always so rewarding and so enjoyable. But circling back to this exhaust, if you have a new 718 GT4 or 718 Spyder, I think this is a 100% go-to. Absolutely good decision. Windows all the way down at the risk of wind noise. Let's listen to this engine with this exhaust. On a personal note, I've actually been recently considering buying a Porsche of some sort, and it's between something like a 991 Turbo S, or I love the GT3, so the 4-liter, especially a 991.2 GT3 manual. Oh, that would be a dream come true. A paint to sample GT3, I would probably buy that and never sell it as long as I could. But those are very expensive vehicles. The price point of a 718 Spyder and the way it feels top down, I haven't had a convertible since the R8 went away, and that it feels less not aggressive, what's the word I'm looking for? Less like it's trying so hard to be the fastest lap track car. It's not trying to deliver you the top tier lap times. It's more about just enjoy the powertrain, enjoy the balance, top down if the weather's nice on a curvy back road. And that's what I would really like a car to do. So someday maybe a 718 Spyder would be good. I would pick this over the 718 GT4, having driven both back to back. Just being able to put the top down, not that I'm doing it today, I did it last time, is a really, really compelling thing to me. And the other fact is, naturally aspirated manual sports cars are, we can call it borderline extinct. I can count on one hand the ones that exist out there, and there aren't many at all left. There's a reason why I chose a Shelby GT350R over the GT500. I wanted the naturally aspirated manual, high-revving, track-focused sports car. I'm going to keep that car forever. As long as I can, I will keep that car forever. A car like this, if you got a good spec one and you really, really like it, I think that would be a good choice to also just keep it. Just have it as the driving enjoyment. Yeah, it's not as fast as those new twin-turbo, crazy dual-clutch, absurdly fast supercars and hypercars out there, but on the real world, on the real roads, using it, this will put the biggest smile on your face, I think. That sounds good. You hear the squeaky brakes. It's a little bit cold out, but steel brakes, no carbon ceramics on this one. And with that, we'll wrap up this quick update video with the 718 Spyder with the updated exhaust. Now that it's got some more miles on it, getting to run it through the rev range and appreciate and listen to that glorious naturally aspirated 4-liter flat 6. What a great combination, what a great sports car. Make sure you also check out the full review we did way back last summer when the car first arrived in the ownership video with Alec. Some other fun toys are coming to his garage, and I'm sure we'll be doing some other videos too, which definitely would be fun. But with that, I appreciate all the support, and we'll see you guys next time.